Hi everyone, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today we are out here to work on the beehives. So it was a long winter, a very pregnant last year, and very little has been done with these bees. They've kind of been left to their own devices, and it is time to see how they're doing. So I've got my smoker going here. I like to use a lot of old straw and bedding. I just recently cleaned up a lot of areas in the yard. And I've got lots of bits of burning material right here that will smoke very well. If you want a good long-lasting fire, burlap works really well. And I hear old sumac buds work really good too. So, some of the things I brought with me. I brought a Hive Tool. Now, this is not the end-all and be-all of the Hive Tools, but this one is nice and thick, and it's really good for separating your supers. This hooked hive comb is really great for pulling the frames out and for scraping burr comb off. The edge of this is beveled and it gets in there really nice. It saves me from prying apart frames and damaging them. So I brought along an extra honey super because those dandelions were in full force. I expect these to be quite full. I've also brought along a freshly painted bottom board for my beehive because this is the same bottom board as last year. It never got a fresh coat of paint, and I really want to keep up on that for weather protection for the bees. And if I don't do it in the springtime, it gets so loaded full of bees later on in the season that it's just hard to get in there, and I don't want another mad nest of bees coming after me like they did 2 years ago. I got stung 40 or 50 times and almost had to run to the emergency room. So I've also brought along an extra empty hive, and I'm going to set this up as a swarm hive. I also have a lure in there, and my homemade lure is a great thing to be able to catch some beehives. So with a homemade lure right here, I'll show you how to do that. I've got that taped in there, and that is a scent attractant to help lure bees that have swarmed into this hive. So I can leave that with an entrance reducer on. I've come out here and I've weed whacked a little bit so that I could set up another hive. I use cinder blocks for my hive stands. And another thing I brought with me is just cheap old cinnamon, ground cinnamon. If you sprinkle this around the base of a hive, it will help repel ants. I have had ants nesting in hives before. They a lot of times like to make little web nests up here in the corners, and ants will crawl up. Now, ants can get in the inside and end up damaging or eating your honey crop, so that's no good. Another thing I brought, have it in my pocket, I grow mint. I've got mint in different areas, and I leave a few sprigs of this on top of the cover and sometimes just on top of the frames. It helps with varroa mites and other problems that the bees have. It just helps deter that. If you can plant little clusters of mint around the bee yard, and that will help also. It's a great pollen source for the bees. They really enjoy it. They've got these nice little flowers that grow on the top, and you can still come out and harvest it. So let's see what's going on with the bees. This is what I was talking about with the ants. The hive is pretty quiet. I think it may not have made it through that last bit of winter, but I have got ants. These ants Now the ants are pretty well just running and taking right off. I'll warn you, don't take these ants into your house. I did mistakenly took a hive lid into my house garage, and I had ants crawling all over that floor. They were after every last bit of honey they could find. Now, if you're dealing with bees on top of ants, it's just unpleasant. So, give that a little whack on the ground. I'm pretty certain there is nothing going on in here. We've got lots of nice, beautiful honey stores from the hive that I didn't take off in the fall. I let it there for them to feed through the winter. So we're going to have to brush these ants off up at the house. If you look there, see I got these cobwebs. I got a big old spider in there. You can get mice in here. We were late getting those entrance reducers on for the winter. I just scrape it off and leave it on the ground. I don't leave any burr comb on the ground because that'll attract possums. Possums will sit there. Raccoons. And a skunk will stand right there at the hive entrance eating the bees one by one as they come out. I tell you, that's hard work. It's glued down with propolis for the winter, heavy with honey. There's at least 60 pounds of honey in there. Hive tools, sometimes they're painted red. I suggest neon yellow, anything you can to find them. I've lost them painted red. Alright, so see here, we had some brood, so we knew we had we got some bees down in the cells that didn't emerge, capped brood, and just dead fossilized bees. Now, I'll just scrape this off. I don't want to leave it out here in the bee yard, but we'll just scrape the bees off. And we'll cut out this old comb, they'll repair it and rebuild it. So I'm not an expert, but what I've been told is that is excrement from varroa mites. Varroa mites attach onto the bees and basically just suck the life out of them as they're growing and developing, and that's not a good sign. So if it was a weak hive, See, we've got lots of honey here. That burrow mite, it's dung. We'll cut that out, and we'll still be able to use this for a new hive and scrape all this off the top. So, see that? That's why you give them a new, clean, fresh painted bottom board. I got all these dead bees. They can clean them out. But you can see here, we had lots of poop. They got dysentery. They were a weak hive, and they just didn't make it. So, try to clean some of this stuff up out here.